Councillor John Marshall.
Mr. Mayor, I listened with interest to Councillor McGurk's speech, which demonstrated why she'd been kicked out of the shadow cabinet. She said that there would be no economic crisis by 2008. Did she not know that Northern Rock went bust in 2007? Did she not know that Bradford and Bingley's right decision failed in 2008? Did she not know that HBOS needed an ill-informed rights issue in 2008? I would suggest she goes and reads Alistair Darling's book, Back from the Brink. She will then know there was an economic crisis in 2008. And what was quite clear to the far-sighted Conservatives of Barnet, if not to her, was that the government couldn't continue to borrow at the rate it was doing in 2008. And inherit a situation as we did in 2010, where the government was borrowing £3 billion a week or £600 million every working day, was clearly unsustainable. There was going to be austerity whoever won the election. Even Gordon Brown admitted that he had to cut the deficit. He was going to do it in 7 years rather than 5. And of course, that is why we have to have one body. Doing nothing is not an option, and she and the Labour Party should recognise that. Councillor Cohen said that our partners in outsourcing will be unaccountable. Of course they won't be. There will be a contract. And if they don't adhere to the standards of that contract, there will be penalty clauses which we will ensure that they honour, and we will ensure that money comes back to this council. What the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats don't recognise is it is the duty of the council to have services provided. It is not the duty of the council to provide those services directly itself. We do not act as a labour exchange, we act as a provider of services to the people of this borough. Councillor Moore asked for a referendum on one Barnet. I will tell her, as Councillor McGurk reminded us, one Barnet goes back to 2008. There was a referendum in 2010. She lost it. Much of what has been said this evening from the Labour Party is financially illiterate. They say that the costs of one Barnet exceed the benefits. That quite simply is due to the fact that if you're rationalising a business, rationalising an organisation, the costs come up front. The benefits which go on and on and on come for years afterwards. You can't expect in year one to enjoy the benefits greater than the costs. Over the life of one Barnet, the benefits will far exceed the costs. And what the Labour Party has to do is tell us how they would run the council without one Barnet. How many teachers would they sack? How many social workers would they sack? Where would they get the savings for one Barnet? Where would they get alternative savings? They refuse to tell us. It's a dishonest move by the Labour Party.
Councillor Palmer, is it clear if you want to speak? If so, very quickly, please.
I wasn't going to speak until I heard some of the speeches emanated from this chamber. Councillor Marshall spoke about there's contracts and there will be penalties if those contracts are not met. Well, we've had this before. Can I give you just one little story? A little story of private finance initiatives, so LAMCONs. When this contract was first produced, I asked to see the director of the environment of this council, and I said I think it would work. And he produced a lot of accountants, and we sat around the table, and they showed me why it would work. And I looked at the figures, and I said, Mr. Freestone, this is too good to be true. It just won't work. And I said, what happens when the company goes bust? The contract that Mr. Councillor Marshall talks about. What happens when it goes to us. We are covered by guarantees, they say. And those guarantees are worthless.
Exactly.
That's the problem about the private sector. Is the problems that we've seen. Councillor Jack Cohen talked about Bournemouth and what happened when the company providing the private services has gone into administration. I'm not saying that any one of these companies we're dealing with will go bust. Will not go into administration. But because it's done in private, because it's been done when no one can see what's happening, how do we know how this is? Palmer has suggested, and which can be done in some way or another, is that I'm personally not against elements of privatisation. If it works, and if you can show that it's done, and if it's done in an incremental way, but not going for a gamble like a Ponzi scheme before you start. And what we're saying, and what Councillor Suzette Palmer was saying, that the councillors need to know the details of the bids that are recommended before you sign on the dotted line. Because once you sign on the dotted line, it's too wrong. And when Councillor Marshall, how do you correct all these nonsenses about the teachers? You can't sack teachers. It's against the law of this land. You can't sack the teachers. So much for that. And Councillor Cornelius spoke about, yes, in this actual amendment from Councillor Thomas. It talks about the EU procurement rules. No one's even mentioned the EU procurement rules. And Councillor Cornelius spoke about the audit committee knowing all about this and how difficult it is and so on. But I tell you, those EU procurement rules will be relevant whether it's the private sector dealing with it or it's the council dealing with it. The contracts with these companies are rightly subject to the EU procurement rules because they are massive. And it's only massive contracts that are subject to EU procurement rules. And so, Mr. Mayor, thank you for allowing me to have these few words, which are longer than I thought, but I believe that this is too hasty a decision, and whether we go ahead as a council or not, there has to be more thought and a more careful process.